Hello, my name is Ron Martinez. I'm an account executive with Bramasol Incorporated. I'd like to welcome you today to the Bramasol Solejar presentation of an overview of the SAP Business Objects Planning and Consolidation solution. Before we get started, just a couple of housekeeping items. Number one, please mute your phone for the benefit of all the attendees. Secondly, I'd like to direct you to the chat window in your WebEx session. Please submit any questions that you may have, and we will answer them at the end of the session. With me today is Jennifer Lee, Principal from Solejar Consulting. Jennifer will be delivering today's presentation. But before I hand it over to Jennifer, let me tell you a little bit about Bramasol. Bramasol was founded in 1996, so about 16 years of longevity. We are headquartered in California. We do, however, deliver solutions across the U.S., so we have nationwide coverage. We are an SAP Gold partner, and we deliver SAP solutions across a variety of organization sizes, so small, medium, and large organizations, as well as across a number of vertical industries. So we do handle a deep sort of depth and breadth of client size and type of business. We are very proud of the fact that we consistently earn SAP Superior Customer Satisfaction Award. In our mind, that is the ultimate measure of success, is satisfying customers who are deriving value from their SAP investment. So with that, I'd like to hand it over to Jennifer, and she'll tell you a little bit about Solejar Consulting and jump into the presentation. Jennifer?
Thank you, Ron. My name is Jennifer Lee. I'm a principal at Solejar Consulting. I've been working in the EPM space myself for more than 8 years, and have been able to bring with Solejar Consulting a breadth of knowledge across what we call the EPM, or Enterprise Performance Management Suite. And in coordination with Bramasol, I'm available to help deliver solutions related to the SAP Business Objects Planning and Consolidation suite of tools, which is what we will talk a bit about today. We are, as well, a California corporation, giving consulting across the EPM suites as necessary. And I just want to talk a little bit about the partnership that Bramasol and Solejar are participating in. We are partnering together to be able to give a great value to our customers across all of our different expertise areas. So that's one of the things that the partnership is able to help us leverage our backgrounds, as well as to provide our clients with the best solutions possible. So let's talk a little bit about why we are hosting this webinar and the information that we'll be talking about today. There are lots of things that affect the office of the CFO and the financial information within an organization. And I want to talk about some of the inefficient processes and how one can remedy them to help make financial reporting, in addition to other areas of finance, improved and more efficient. So if we talk about the office of the CFO, we know that they have various requirements, whether it's to get out the financial reporting quickly, to consolidate and close the books quickly, and then to provide guidance as far as forecasting and budgeting as necessary. And if they are unable to finish that up and get that done quickly, accurately, and with high visibility, the CFO can't make decisions, nor can the rest of the management within the organization. And if that business area is not efficient, it leads to other inefficiencies within the organization. If we look at areas, whether it's sales, marketing, procurement, manufacture, you're going to have inefficiencies if they can't see their data is not accurate, or that they are not all in sync or in coordination as far as communications go. If there's different strategy being communicated depending on the different groups and data is not flowing correctly, there's definitely inefficiencies there, when really it's reliant on the numbers, and those numbers are owned by finance. And then related to how then the whole organization is dealing with their numbers and their reporting, they're going to have to then report to executive management. And if executive management is unable to look at their entire business, to look at their entire strategy, and to make quick and accurate decisions, they're unable to make the best organizational decisions for the whole operation. So what our goal is here is to try and give our clients an ability to look at everything across the entire organization and improve it for everybody. So we want accurate insight, we want quick turnaround on data, and we want to be able to share that information. So then in the office of the CFO and in the finance area, the quicker we can get our data there, the more visible it is, the ease of use of getting to that data, and the ability then to look at it and make decisions on it is going to then push through then the rest of the organization. From there, you have people in the operations and production side of the market being able to get their sales figures quickly, being able to adjust their business part as necessary there, whether it's increasing or decreasing procurement, dealing with suppliers, dealing with vendors, et cetera. And then as well as marketing is going to then be able to take that information as they look at that historic data or the actuals that are constructed, and then helps to drive that, what's the profitability within the organization. And then a seamless set of data there will then lead to better financial reporting and detailed information to the executive management. They're going to then be able to see all the information rapidly. They're going to be able to look at it all in one single swoop and be able to give good strategy out to not only the business, but then out to the market as is necessary. So they want to be able to push down their goals and have quick response back on solutions. Solutions like this are looked at as an investment by an organization. When you look at typically the finance area, it's not the money maker of an organization, but it is the money owner. In doing that, why would they need to spend the money on something like this? Why would you invest in this type of solution? Really, you're really wanting to invest in something that's going to make a better business decision, quicker information available to the users, and more accurate data in a timely manner. So if we look at this, a lot of organizations say, well, I have invested in planning. I do planning today. I do reporting today. And that's usually what they've invested in is something like Office, and so that they use Excel internally within their organization. So yes, you can say that you have a tool out there that you're using, but it's potentially not necessarily a tool that's guided to this type of agile reporting, that's guided to this type of user interaction, this security and this management of data. So really you're looking at trying to improve your organization with some value rather than just saying, you know, spending less is better. You want to put value where you can on your solutions. And you're looking at investing in technology you already have a grasp of internally, and looking at being able to spread that then out within your organization efficiently. So you really want to see a return on investment related to the time it takes, whether that's the time of the close, how long it takes to gather and report budgets back to your executives, multiple iterations, et cetera. You want to improve your accuracy. Where is that data coming from? Is it accurate? Has anybody interacted with it? Is there a chance for you know, data corruption, et cetera? And you want to then allow for the analysis. You want to have the return on investment that you provide a solution that somebody's not necessarily crunching numbers through, that they're actually spending time to analyze the data and then through analysis make better decisions. And then finally is ultimately, you know, in today's economy, we're looking for a return on investment for the money spent. So if we can now say we don't need the number crunchers, we can now have the analysts and improve on our headcount spend there. That's always a benefit. So I want to talk just a little bit about here at this point. What we're presenting today is the Business Objects Enterprise Performance Management Solutions. It has a set of goals within an organization to control your performance, increase your agility, and make for better decision making down the road. And what we need to understand is you need to have a good view into your organization, visualizing the big picture, get a tight grasp on the numbers. From there, you can then go through and make your decisions with those accurate numbers, and thus allowing your business to have agility, to change, and to grow over time. So you want to be able to have a flexibility in a solution, but a solid foundation that will also move and morph with you as you go through here. So a little bit about the agenda, what we will cover today. The challenges of today's financial requirements, as we know that it can be very challenging to an organization, and how SAP Business Objects Planning and Consolidation can help solve some of those problems. We're going to talk about the unified answer, so we'll talk about the solution overview based on Business Objects Planning and Consolidation, and then we'll just summarize at the end and have next steps. So just a quick reminder, If everybody on the phone could mute their line so that it doesn't disrupt for any of the other callers in. And then secondly is if for the summary next steps, we will be taking questions, but feel free throughout the presentation, if you have any questions, to go ahead and load them into chat. They can be directed at the group as a whole or directly to me, and we will summarize them all up at the end. So let's talk a bit about how SAP BPC is how I will refer to it. We'll be working on some of the problems that are occurring within organizations. So if we look at the office of the CFO, or we look at the things that they are challenged with on a daily basis, what they're tasked with as the management of this area is, they've got to get a handle on lots of different areas of information and control the organization through these different areas. If we look at some of these that are incredibly important, if you can't trust your data and you can't trust your reporting, you have a fatal flaw underneath. I mean, you're supporting the organization with the numbers, and you have to have a face in that information. You also have to be careful to dealing with what the risks associated with that are, right? So you have the risks in making a bad business decision, but you also have risks, whether it's through audit, internal audit, SOX, that type of information that you really have to keep a hold on. If you don't have your business strategy completely aligned, and you need to be able to understand not only what it's going to mean for tomorrow, but how that's going to affect your business decisions next quarter, next year, as you grow and change over time. You also need to be able to say, if I'm going to be a top financial organization, how am I going to be able to retain the type of people that need to be part of this top financial organization? And as a growing, improving company, you're going to need to say, well, then technology is obviously an area where we're going to need to be able to strive to be able to help foster this type of retention that is required to keep a top-notch finance organization. One of the other big worries of the CFO is that of data. Where is my data coming from? Is my data in there correctly? How do I get it in there quickly, efficiently, and accurately to be able to turn it around? And then finally is looking at your lack of predictability. If I can't figure out where I need to go based on what I've already done, then I can't give good guidance across the board. So the CFO has lots of challenges. These are the things that keep them awake at night, trying to figure out, you know, am I able to answer all of these challenges? How am I addressing them within my organization? And then on top of that, obviously they have their challenges, but they also have what they need to achieve as far as what are their goals. And, you know, from a CFO, they must you know, just like everybody else, go in and deal with, you know, what's my annual review? They've got to sit down with this, you know, the CEO and say, you know, what do we need to do better? What can we improve on? How is my area of the business running? And there's lots of things that can be done here, really aligning one's focus on what needs to get accomplished, whether that's for the future or in the present day. So if you need to improve your close cycle, if you need to spend more time on your data accuracy, I need to really have some confidence in my people and the analysis that they're providing. Are they just throwing together numbers every month in a crazy close cycle, or are they able to sit down, go through a unified process, put that information together, and provide us with clean, accurate, timely reporting? How much time do those analysts are able to sit down and actually do that? Asking the questions of, you know, how quickly can I get a consolidated P&L from my reporting group after we make that final tax entry at the end of the quarter? How quickly can we get the audit reports off to the auditors so that they can start their analysis? And as they ask questions going through their process, can I get to that information quickly? If my CIO is having a question on his expenses, how quickly can I get back to that information? Those type of questions and goals are really what the CFO really wants to be able to say. I can answer these quickly, efficiently, and in a timely manner. So we've talked about data accuracy being a problem, whether that's historical data. So if we're looking at transactions out of a transaction system, where are they coming from? Are they coming from spreadsheets? Are they coming from multiple transaction systems? Are they coming from multiple entities around the world? How do I deal with that data in response to an acquisition, new companies, new systems, new data. What are the processes around all of this information? Can I get this information? Is it all at the same level of detail? Is it all at the same level of accuracy? How quickly can we bring it together and see it? And then the execution. How is this going to be done? What is the business process behind it? What are the steps required to get this information across the system and in here accurately? So everybody has to go through a process, and hopefully within an organization it's not a cumbersome process where you go, oh my goodness, it's quarter close again. Oh my gosh, it's month end. Didn't we just do this like last week? So you want to be able to put a succinct process in there so that you can see the blips on the radar that really force the business decision. Making sure that the data comes in accurately through the data dumps, and you're able to get information through there for validations and reporting. Now, in addition to these basic financial requirements, you have lots of outside requirements that are coming in and trickling into our organizations, whether that's on the public company side for XBRL, whether you're dealing with SOX requirements in there and getting stuff reported, audited cleanly in there. Is your data correct? Is your segregation of duties correct? Can this information be audited? How quickly can we turn on the audit related to it? And how much do all of these outside costs get driven up by our inefficiencies internally? So we looked at some of the problems that are out there. So let's look at the solution. So SAP BPC is put together as a solution to a lot of these issues we run into. We'll speak a bit today on the financial reporting aspect and then push us into some of the other things included in the SAP BPC solution and how it will then allow us to leverage what we've brought in-house for financial reporting to do some of the other aspects of making the Office of the CFO a much more efficient and reliable data source. So one of the things is SAP BPC was designed to come to the user base with a completely familiar and ease of use interaction. SAP BPC was integrated directly with Microsoft Office on purpose. It knew that the finance and accounting already speaks proficient Excel. It knows that they can go in there, write a formula very, very quickly, get to what they need, and build very extensive models in Excel. Well, Excel is great as a tool, but with the addition of BPC and its integrated technology, you now add things in there as far as security, integration, business process, and the ability to collaborate amongst your other users more efficiently than just emailing a template, saving it to a shared drive. So it's actually leveraging something already internally known and then allowing it to be expanded upon within your organization. We also know that the BPC allows us to be process-centric, really driving what the step-by-step process needs to be, who within the organization needs to interact with the data, and in what order it needs to happen. Allowing us to have then a one-stop shop to be able to go in and for our legal reporting, we can go in and do our management reporting, we can go in and complete our closed consolidations as necessary, and then pushing on to do our planning and our forecasting in one unified model. So we'll talk about how all these aspects of BPC come together to give us one solution that will look seamless across the organization and then will allow for data integrity and a single version of the truth. One other thing to mention is the BPC solution is not just a one-way reporting solution. BPC is, we call a bi-directional solution. Not only can you report data out, so if we have data coming in from our transaction system into BPC and we're able to look at it and look at the close process, we'll also be able to augment that data or send data back in, whether that is through a journal system, so there's a complete journal system for use in closed reporting, as well as then there's BPC input templates that allow a user to actually interact with the data and send it back into the system. So it's a bi-directional. You can actually retrieve data from the database as well as submit data to the database, all in a secured and audited fashion. So let's talk a little bit more about this familiar, easy to use. So I would guess that every finance organization on the phone call today is using Excel. It is definitely widely known. It's on the top of all the requirements for personnel on open recs. It's definitely something that people, you love it and you hate it all at the same time, because not only are you able to do lots of things with it, but that then forces you to do lots of things with it. This concept of spreadsheet hell and that ability to just sit there and crunch through numbers is a great solution, and it's also a painful solution. So one of the things that BPC really said is we want to be able to take the knowledge already in the finance and accounting realm, in that Excel, that ability to go in, use those Excel functions, write the basic sum functions, write the basic formatting presentation areas, and leverage that with this BPC connectivity. So there's patented technology within BPC that allows it to interact with the whole Office suite, not just Excel. So imagine you're able to go through and new entries are made back into the transaction system, data is refreshed through BPC, and a user can then go into BPC for Excel and pull back the information they need very, very rapidly, see it rolled up across the organization, see it consolidated, see it against variances in your budget and or then in your forecast as well. And then from there being able to say, well, I've got my numbers in Excel, what if I need to go now augment a memo or a footnote? I can also then integrate with Microsoft Word and pull that number directly into Microsoft Word. So the net income that's in my Excel is also the net income that's in my Word, connected back to the single version of the truth within BPC. And then say I need to update that PowerPoint presentation that we're giving to the management after lunch. I don't have to go back, find all the slides that have the net income of it. I have now my PowerPoint connected into BPC as well, and so that once again that same net income will flow through across all of the entire Office suite. And then finally, looking at the fact that you have all this information in your organization today already in Excel, BPC has the ability to take these existing models. We can connect those existing models in with BPC. That helps aid with the user turnaround as well. So you have your finance users, not only are they comfortable with their current models and we can connect their current models in, but we can also look at the fact that you have other models that are distributed throughout your organization, whether it's the revenue planning or the expense forecasts, which are in Excel and given to users who they interact with them once a quarter, every few months, something like that. We can leverage that known interface already, which is already potentially in Excel, and leverage that by connecting it to BPC. So that the users have a more streamlined interaction with it, but now within a secured and auditable system instead of now in disparate spreadsheets. So let's talk about how BPC can provide an intuitive interaction with the software. Between a user and the system itself, we can look at not only this concept of being what we're looking at, but we can also see how we're doing it, why we're doing it, where we're doing it, and that kind of information. So BPC is secured through your Microsoft Active Directory, allowing that single sign-on capability and that auditable password that is necessary as part of SOX compliance. But it then also allows you to set up what a user can do and where a user can have access to. So if a user is the controller of the North American operations, they only have access to the North American operations. They can't then see what's going on in Europe. If you have a department manager that's only responsible for seeing their marketing department, we can give them access solely to their marketing department and then solely to the forecast related to the marketing expenses. So the security can be very much set up in that sense, and then layered in with something we call the business process flows, which allow you then for that user to be guided through where they need to be, when they need to do it, and then having the ability to actually have a collaboration via emails and then portals as necessary within your organization to say, I'm finished with this one, this is where I need to go next, really guiding the user through and then guiding the management through to see how the process is going and see how the approvals are going. And then guiding them through then into that process-centric idea is being able to take your organization's processes that are there today, whether they're clear or not, and that's usually a good process that we go through when we do an implementation, is really let's sit down and let's see what you do. In your month-end close, who's interacting when, what numbers are you waiting for, are you always waiting for such and such to provide something, and really build that step-by-step process that can get you through the close. Say that close process is followed by the consolidation process. That consolidation process is followed by the forecast that needs to occur every quarter. Something down those lines. There can actually be a built-in process there that One can then be reviewed from management perspective to see how the process is going, but then also being able to move forward and see where there's holdups and tie-ups in the line. And also the integration with the email will allow then management to get notification of where they are needed in the process for approvals, and those approvals then can lead to the lockdown of data. So that's really important to understand that, you know, it's not a completely open system all the time, that there is a process related to it that will help track things and then complete things as necessary. One of the things I also want to speak about, when you look at solutions and you hear about, oh, it's another piece of software, it's another piece of technology, I've got to now rely on IT to help me get to what I need, where if I just do it in Excel, I know where to get it, and I'm just going to dump it in there and crunch through the numbers. When BPC was designed originally, it was designed with the concept of the people who know the data should be the people who own the data. As far as ownership of this information and ownership of the software, it's usually given to the business user. So I would say in 95% of my implementations, it's completely administered from a financial side. That means that the finance administrator is somebody who's familiar with the data. You know, say they're a financial analyst, they're an FP&A analyst, they're a controller. They're in there maintaining how the data interacts, how the data rolls up, how management wants to look at information, potentially even then dealing with some of the users and the roles and who has access to what. No more are you relying on IT to say, I need to open a ticket just to get somebody some data refreshed from a system. On the IT side, the responsibility lies on the server management, keeping your servers up and running, and on the backup side, so being able to make sure that you have complete redundancy and ability to get back to the data. And then finally, just talking a little bit more on when you have a business administrator, does that mean that on the business side, I've now got to find somebody who has a technical background, ability to code and query and that kind of information? The answer is no. BPC has been designed from the administration perspective through the admin client, so they do not need access directly to the servers, but through the admin client in an Excel or wizard-driven interface to be able to maintain everything that they need to do from an administrative point of view. So, you know, you have sometimes now with that blurring of lines between some of this, of the technology and the business. But in this case, BPC has really been giving the abilities to the business to own their software. So no longer do they have to be reliant to get the information they need from IT. They just need the support of IT from the purely hardware perspective. Let's talk a little bit about the architecture here. The solution we're going with today is this Business Objects Planning and Consolidation, and this is on the Microsoft platform. What that means is we are able to take and build everything, like we've said, on the Office user end, tracing back all the way into where we are into our structured data and our unstructured data. So if we think about this, the leveraging here across the Microsoft platform is the Office suite on the user end, and then for the database side, we leverage the Microsoft SQL Server, and then from there we can use the OLAP, which is on Microsoft Analysis Services, allowing us to be able to build on top of that to get our OLAP in there. And then from there, how the data gets into the database can be from various ERP systems. It can be from data warehouses. It can be from Excel spreadsheets. It can be from Access databases. Very, very open-ended there on where the data can get into. So even though this is an SAP solution, it is not required to be on the SAP ERP. It can sit on top of multiple ERPs if necessary to bring an organization together. So let's talk about some of the different things that BPC can be used for. I mean, an organization definitely can come in and say, I really need some help with financial reporting. But you're going to be purchasing a solution that can provide lots of different solutions within your organization. So a one-stop shop that can bring together all of these different pieces. One is from the consolidation side. Financial consolidations is a very open-ended kind of word. The ability to bring data together, roll it up, and look at it at a consolidated level is important. That can include intercompany, either eliminations, matching, reconciliations related to those. It can include legal consolidation, as well as complex ownership, so joint venture and equity accounting needs. As far as the consolidations are concerned, as well, it's fully auditable, contains journaling, as necessary for compliance, and then gets fully secured and process-centric so you can have the segregation of duties as necessary. It also includes full financial reporting and analysis, so whether that is the automation of your close books, the ability to look at dynamic variance analysis, so as your actuals coming in, how is it tracking against your budgets and your forecasting, your management statement, so say you need to distribute things regionally, you need to distribute things across product lines, you need to do allocations related to how the business needs to look at profitability. All that can be taken care of within BPC. Additionally, it can be leveraged for your SEC or street reporting, including XBRL needs that can be augmented with it as well. But being able to now automate that information through there, so it's now no longer just a big grab of data and somebody pushing it together into spreadsheets, but the ability to say, we've moved on from Q2 to Q3, we refresh the data, we bring it in, we start looking at it and start our analysis rather than spending a lot of time on the building of the data. And then from there, now that we can see how our business is running in today's world, let's look at going out to the future. How does our forecasting look? Whether it's saying we need to go through rolling forecast quarterly, we need to update our outlook, but we all need to integrate together with one collaborative approach on this and how we're going to be able to push through and see that information. And then finally, it's detailed business planning. So whether this is part of your annual plan or a more frequent planning exercise, but getting into detail of sales planning by market, if you need to do cost planning by SKU, by product line, down those lines of things, looking at your capital spend, looking at your expenses related to headcount and staffing. So a system to collaboratively put together and gather your headcount and then calculate and distribute out the set costs related to having headcount within your organization. So all of the expenses related to your salary. So not just salaries, but your vacations, your health care, all of that information can be calculated within BPC by employee in a secured environment. And then finally, looking at your expense planning across your organization, whether it's departmental or looking at it across, even at more detailed levels as necessary, and then rolling it up very, very quickly within your organization. So if there's a mandate that comes down that says, I would like to see how the organization looks with the bonus change, how quickly can you turn that around and see how that affects the bottom line? So one of the key things here is to look at this concept of saying, I'm going to be purchasing one solution as SAP, Business Objects Planning and Consolidation. I may be purchasing it today for a certain requirement. I may be having problems with my financial reporting, my ability to bring the data together quickly, efficiently. But I now will have a solution where without the purchase of any additional software, I could potentially now in the future use it for consolidations because we've purchased another organization, they have a different ERP, we need to be able to bring the data together and consolidate it. Or say I have a need down the road to automate some of my planning or my forecasting. I can add that as an additional phase. I already own the software to do it. I have my actuals already in this software. I can now bring in my plan and have a much more robust reporting system without a new user interface, a new piece of software, a new ramp up into the technology. So let's talk about how, once again, this is a concept of a unified approach, the one-stop shop, the ability to bring together one piece of software that's going to do everything we need to do across the organization. So you have this concept of saying, well, I have this group, they're in procurement, they use this interface on this software, and I have the sales group and they use this interface in the software. Well, more than likely, all the different groups are using Excel in some form, and which is why BPC can then at some point be a clean connection between all of them, because it's the same look and feel across the organization, and it's a one-stop shop for many, many of the needs within the organization. And then one of the key things here is that if you now are using BPC as your place to hold your data, you have this single version of the truth. You can't have this concept anymore where somebody sits down in a meeting and says, oh, here, I ran this off the data warehouse, and oh, I ran this one off of the ERP, but I ran it 3 days ago. And somebody else coming in and you say, we have BPC now, this is our single version of the truth, this is where all the financials should be gotten from, it is the book of record now, the place where we have the information in, it is the auditable source of information within our system. And then you can say that, we can say that because it is a secured set of data. We don't have to worry about now somebody having access to information that is no longer relevant or is not for their eyes. And then finally, I want to talk a little bit about how BPC is a solution that is part of what we call the larger business objects portfolio of tools, and how it is integrated within this information. So business objects is a reporting solution, portfolio of tools that can do lots of things within your organization. And one of the nice things is BPC integrates completely with this information to allow you as a data source to feed information back to your various portions of your organization. So if you need to have dashboards for your executives that they need to see, as the consolidation is occurring or as the information is coming through, what the management roll-ups, BPC can feed into the business objects dashboards. If you have users out there using crystal reports that are distributed to your sales organization, they can be connected in with your BPC information. So if they need to get to their detail on their sales figures in BPC, they can go and connect that in with crystal reports, getting to the detail behind the scenes, as well as being able to leverage some of the tools for your data needs within the business object suite. And collaboration with BPC is highly important. A lot of organizations today have lots of data sources, and some of the data integration tools and that type of information within business objects can help streamline that information, making sure the data into BPC makes sense, and then making sure that all of the reporting data that goes out to the organization is streamlined and effective. So if we look at the area we're talking about today with BPC, it's part of the Enterprise Performance Management section of the Business Objects portfolio. Additionally, they have an area of government risk and compliance, so being able to look at your risk management and how that's going to affect your organization. Their area of business intelligence, allowing you to report many, many different ways from the system, whether it's in the web, whether it's in the dashboards, whether it's into other office suites, or through some intuitive drilling and other reporting requirements. The business intelligence section can help with that. And then finally, the information management. So we talked a little bit about how data needs to come through, and sometimes organizations need some assistance there. BPC can definitely interact very, very well with that and help streamline your data needs within an organization. So just to kind of summarize some of the information we looked at today, we know that BPC gives value for everyone. That's value to the CFO. That's value all the way down to the cost accountant or the FP&A analyst who's in there trying to enter expenses. There's value given across the whole level in the finance area, and then across the organization as if it's for management reporting or even down to sales analysis, et cetera. So you can actually go in and say, we have a single solution that is going to allow you to get to the reports you need, the data you need, accurately and securely, and then making sure that everybody is involved in the process. Looking at those business processes, designing the business process flows within BPC to make sure that the right people interact when they need to interact so that the information can get done timely, and then lead to a true ownership and a collaboration. Because as we know, is if somebody doesn't feel like it's their number, that their number's been changed, then there is not that complete collaboration. So BPC will foster that collaboration with its gathering and security of the information, and then the approvals and the sign-off within management. And then being able to take that productivity and say, I've hired these such and such analysts, and I don't know the last time they were able to analyze a number. They sit there and they crunch numbers, but are they really saying, wow, I didn't realize that product line had such high profitability? Or are they really saying, well, let me look at how this department has been trending year over year. How is it looking against its budget? And really doing the analysis to make those business decisions. So no longer just that chunking through of data, but being able to now sit down and learn from the data. And then being able to take a solution and put it into your organization without having to bog down the IT infrastructure. So IT is obviously out there doing other projects for other organizations, and finance has its requirements, but if you're able to come in with a solution that you can say, hey, I need you to just assist me with the hardware and keeping the server up and running, we will take care of it internally, you'll be much more loved within the IT organization, because you're able to then say, I'm going to be owning it from the business side, able to administer it and take care of my solution for me, and you will be there as my augmenting me from a support role. And then finally is just being able to say that you are going to have a unified solution with security, auditability and the true set of business processes in there that will keep your organization in compliance, whether it's from outside or inside auditors and or regulations. So I'm going to head now into the summary and the next steps. So we've looked at the SAP Business Objects Planning and Consolidation tool today. It's going to take forward for us and look at various portions of our business. We talked about how it's as a unified solution. It has lots of different options we can go with. I actually had a client ask me, when you implement BPC at other clients, do you use every bit and piece of the technology? And I said, you know what? What's nice about it, it's a flexible tool that if you have needs in the planning area, the consolidation area, and then sales analysis, for example, you can use those. You may not be leveraging the journals at that point in time, but that's okay. You're leveraging a good portion of the software and letting it meet your needs rather than saying, I've got to fit my organization into the software. BPC is a flexible approach and ability to really say, I'm going to leverage this information over time. That's the other thing is BPC can be implemented in different stages, in different phases, looking at the entire organization's needs in the end, but being able to take a step-by-step approach to be able to put wins through and people to gain value in the software across time. And we talk about the ability to go through and address different areas of the information, whether it's collecting the information, communicating the information, going through the process, and being able to just move forward with it. And then finally, that ability to take BPC and integrate it with the rest of the organization, being able to say that I'm going to integrate it not only in the finance area, but if I integrate it through the whole business object suite, and then an ability then to integrate through the other BI reporting, I potentially can bring all of my reporting within my organization into one portfolio, seamless technology, seamless user authentication, et cetera, and really then leveraging the best of breed tools that are out there to help answer my company's needs. And then finally, just talking a little bit about how, as a solution, the Business Objects Planning and Consolidation has fabulous solutions for the mid-size organization. They have come together with what they call their Edge packaging. They have Business Objects Edge, and they have SAP BPC Edge, and the ability to come in and work with a mid-sized growing organization to come up with a solution that is efficient as well as very well priced has been an important goal of SAP's as they come to push this in organizations that really can use this. There definitely are needs within large enterprise, but the Edge one has been put together as a package to really help those growing organizations, to help them learn more and move more into being the best of breeds within their industries. So finally, for more information, we can talk about where to go from this presentation. Your ability to go and check out our websites, as well as there are lots of white papers available on the SAP website on the Business Object Planning and Consolidation section if you're interested in some of the background there. Additionally, feel free to get in touch to schedule a live in-person demo. We very much like to sit down with an organization, talk about some of their pain points, look at what they're interested in looking at, and then building and presenting a set demo based on that information and really tailoring it towards a specific organization's needs. This was really for an informative kind of overview, but we would love to sit down and talk with you about some of your other needs. And then finally, there are other solution briefs on the SAP website available for you to be able to kind of see how either some of the other organizations are using BPC and how you can really use it to kind of build out some of your areas in the organization that may need some augmentation. So I want to thank everybody for being part of today's presentation. I'm going to take some questions from the group. If anybody has them, please feel free to put them into the chat, and then we'll see what we can get answered here. Okay, well, it looks like I got a couple that come in. So one of the questions is, how long does it take to implement this type of software? Well, we've had some implementations that can range depending on what the requirements are. And we would love, in sitting down with you, talk about what your requirements are within an organization. But I would say that if we're looking at financial reporting, going into an organization and saying that we need to go through our what their information is and scope it out through business requirements. But I would say for a phase 1 implementation for financial reporting, we probably could handle that in an 8 to 10 week time frame. I have organizations where I do it, in between a quarter close. So they have financial reporting requirements. They close the quarter, they get that reported, and then we start an implementation in time for then a parallel run for that next quarter close. So it's a good, quick turnaround there and adds quite a bit of value there. Additionally, then, sitting there and talking about implementations, whether it's just for financial reporting, we can do financial reporting consolidations, we can do planning, forecasting, and a combination in there depending on what the reporting needs are. We'll definitely sit down with you, as well as just to talk a little bit about the implementation strategy we use with BPC. Very much it's a collaborative effort. We don't see the value in delivering a finished tool to an organization. We really want to spend the implementation with you, learning your process and working with you so that you feel enabled once we've completed the implementation to really own the system. So it would be a shared time process with you, integrating your people within the organization to make sure that there is a full ownership of the software once the implementation is complete. All right, I have a question here that says, do I need SAP ERP to run BPC? The answer is no. BPC can sit on top of any disparate set of data systems. From an ERP perspective, I've implemented BPC on things as from SAP all the way. I've done Oracle, I've done JD Edwards, I've done specialized industry ERPs. I've also done organizations where they have multiple companies that are on different ERPs, and one of their problems is being able to bring all their information together. And so you can have multiple ERP systems feeding into BPC, and then that ability to take that and consolidate it together for financial reporting can add great value instead of having to try and map charts of accounts, et cetera, and how is the stuff equatable. Additionally, you can feed into BPC from other places. So if you've got a different sales system, you need to pull in some data in, you've got some other disparate spreadsheets, or you've got access databases, that can be done, as well as we talked a little bit about how BPC can actually get augmented from the user side, right? So the ability to send that two-way street, so the ability to build journals and input data that way and have that for auditable information. Okay, let's see. There's another one here. How is the system administered? So I talked a little bit about that and how a user would usually, or an administrator would usually come from the business side, coming from the finance or the planning side of the house. Somebody there who has the knowledge on the data. They know how the chart of accounts rolls up. They understand how the management structure needs to look at the information regionally. They understand how the consolidations need to flow through the legal structures. They are the ones who are actively participating in the information, and they will then be the ones to administer the information. That means that the management of the dimensionality, which is part of BPC, can be done by the finance area. That means that the data loading and any of the transformations related to that data loading can be done from the business side via the Excel models. That's one of the nice things is they really said if we're going to get this owned and operated by the business, we need to make it user-friendly. And in that sense, they're leveraging, once again, that Excel technology that finance and accounting already knows so heavily. And then I have a question, is the difference between BI and EPM? So business intelligence is usually a reporting terminology used to be able to help distribute data within an organization, and that can be all kinds of information, not just financial information. You would sit there and being able to push it out there to an organization via, from the business objects portfolio perspective, being able to push it out via the dashboards, or being able to push it out via crystal reports, distributing information to the organization. Where BPC or EPM, which is a part of EPM, is a collaborative type of tool. The ability to not only distribute data via reporting, but be able to gather data, combine data, run calculations on it, so we can do allocations, we can do currency conversion, we can do information related to budgeting, planning, et cetera. And that information then can be bidirectional, secured, and audited within BPC. So there is a slight difference, but they are corresponding technologies, and they do feed off of each other very, very well, and can create a complete suite of answers to an organization. So do we have any more questions coming from the field here? All right, that's the last one I've got. I want to thank you all once again for participating in today's webinar. It's been hopefully a very informative session, and I encourage you all to get in touch. If you've registered, you will be reached out to this in the coming week to really check back with you and see if we can provide you with some more information, potentially an in-person demo, and just some basic feedback on the solution. Ron, do you want to take it away?
Sure. Thanks very much, Jennifer. And again, I hope you found today's presentation informative. We did certainly cover a lot of ground. I think that's really one of the strengths and the power of the solution, is that it addresses requirements in the planning, financial consolidations, and financial reporting areas. So if you would like, you could reach out to us, and we would be happy to schedule a follow-up discussion so we can talk about your specific requirements, and as Jennifer said, pull together a custom demonstration for you. So you do see our contact information on the screen. You can also expect a communication from us to follow up. And once again, thanks very much for your time and attention, and have a great afternoon.